Welcome to the Henry R. Evans Stadium here at Russell High School. I'm Charlie Dunlap, and this is JFL action. In this ball game, Raceland will play the Russell JFL team, the Cowboys. Cowboys, of course, decked out in all white uniforms. Raceland in the black and orange with the white helmets. Just about ready to get this one started. From the 40, the kickoff comes to one of the up men at about the 35-yard line, up over the 40 to the 45 to the 50. And one of the Cowboys comes up hobbling a little bit. And that may be the man that the ball it was who picked the ball up and ran it back for the Cowboys. Chris Blanton. So the Cowboys will take a timeout here, or the officials will call a timeout. Play resumes. The ball will be just shy of the 50-yard line, so we'll call it the 50. The Cowboys will have it first and 10. Okay, Blanton is up now, and he will limp off, but he's on his own power, so to speak. Now we're ready to go. The Cowboys will have it first and 10 right at the 50, a full house backfield. I believe that's Johnson at the quarterback spot. Johnson will hand it off, and the handoff goes to Brett Hall. Hall will struggle over the 50, and nope. They're going to say that they're going to say he got nothing, second and 10. Actually got about half a yard. The ball was just shy of the 50. Now it's resting just at the 50. Just underway, second, and for all purposes, 10 yards on the 50. The Cowboys, Greg Johnson, the quarterback. We've got two split backs and a slot man on the left side. Here's the pitch. Inside the 40 on the sweep, inside the 45. They'll get him at the 45. Jason of Bethel was the man that carried the ball. And for Raceland, on the tackle, Tyler Grant brings him down. That'll bring up a second, and let's call it 5. The ball resting on the Raceland 45-yard line. Just underway here in the first quarter. It's scoreless. The Cowboys have a first third down play of the ball game, 3rd and 5 on the Raceland 45-yard line. At the quarterback spot, Johnson. He's got a full house backfield. He'll hand it off, and running hard, trying to get to first down and getting very close to it was Randy Perkins of the Cowboys. Nice run out of Perkins. Thomas Tolliver of Raceland in on the tackle, and it's enough for the first down. So the Cowboys convert to third down and have it first and 10 now at the Raceland, let's call it 40-yard line. Johnson looks over to his coaching staff to get the play. Actually, they're going to send a play in as they send Scott Smith and Marcus Woods into the ball game. So let's see what the Cowboys can do now. As Johnson at the quarterback looks the defense over. He's got that full house backfield. There's some movement. Before anything is done, the Raceland defense was jumping around, and the Cowboys then jumped around, so it will cost the Cowboys 5 yards. You know, the defense, as long as they don't encroach, they can move around all they want to, but the offense can't. Once they get set, they've got to stay there. And, of course, they started to move. So that will back the Cowboys up to the 45 in Raceland territory, and it will be 1st and 15. Once again, a full house backfield, everybody in tight. Johnson at the quarterback. Johnson will hand it off, and the 40, inside the 40, down to the 39. That was Randy Perkins once again carrying for the Cowboys. And Perkins will pick up about 6 yards. And that'll bring up second and about 9 for the Cowboys.
Bring up second down about 9 for the Cowboys.
So the Cowboys trying to overcome that 5-yard penalty. They get that back in 1 yard, but it is second down now. Into the ball game. It's number 80. And I apologize, I don't have an 80 on my roster. I'll check here in a moment and see if I can find a number somewhere else. Johnson looks to throw it, a quick pass into the flat on the left side. It's completed inside the 35 at the 34. And that was completed to
Number 80, Dooley.
Dooley, number 80. Aha, I know, I do have that information. And all my other information here that was given to me. So I found that. That'll bring up a third and about 4, the ball on the 34-yard line in Raceland territory. The Cowboys with it. They'll split the backs. They'll have a man in the slot on the right. And here goes the handoff. Nothing there. Nothing there for Blanton. He tried to come around the left side and nowhere to go. As Raceland right there to bring him down. And for Raceland, that was Chris Wilson on the tackles. That'll bring up fourth and about 4. Dooley will come in with the play for the Cowboys. The official will stop the clock. I'll have to wait and see what they're doing here. Oh, they're going to, when I say punt, the official will move the ball down the field about 25 yards as they don't punt here. And Raceland will take over.
And the Cowboys will like to punt.
So on the fourth and about 4, the Cowboys decide not worth giving Raceland real good field advantage. So they'll back Raceland up to their own 15-yard line, and that's where Raceland will start things off. 3 minutes and 36 seconds left in this first quarter. It's scoreless. The Cowboys taking the opening kickoff and finally stalling out. Raceland with a full house backfield. And here goes the handoff. Nice run up on the right side. The quarterback in there is Scott Grizzle, and I believe the running back was Chris Lax. So Lax carries the ball from the 15 up to about the 18-yard line.
Number 69, E.B. Childers.
E.B. Childers in on the tackle for the Cowboys. And that will bring up a second down, let's call it 7, out at the Raceland 18-yard line. Grizzle, the quarterback, looks things over. Now Raceland gets set. Here's the handoff. Not a lot of running room at all. Not much. The ball carrier was Thomas Tolliver for Raceland. And the tackler was Hensley, Kyle Hensley of the Cowboys. That'll bring up third, and let's call it 5. The ball out at the 20. He picked up a couple. Not a lot of running room against the Cowboys for Raceland. 2:22 on a moving clock here on an overcast day at the Henry R. Evans Stadium on the campus at Russell High School. Raceland ready to go on their first third down. Here's a little reverse counter action. Not much running room. The man gets away from a couple of people, but not everybody. It may have been Tolliver who was carrying the ball. And it was Tolliver, but he'll come up short of the first down, short by a couple of yards as he gets it to the 18. So Raceland will decide what to do here. Of course, they have the option to try to get the first down, or they have the option to allow the referee to move the ball. And the referee will move the ball. They move it 25 yards on the simulated punt, and the Cowboys get the ball back. They'll get it back, it looks like, on the Raceland 49-yard line. No score in this ball game, 1:43 in this, the opening stanza. The JFL Cowboys from Russell and the Raceland team battling it out here. The ball resting just inside the 50. Let's call it the 49. First and 10 for the Cowboys. Johnson at the quarterback. He's got one back behind him. And Johnson will pitch it back to Bethel. He gets going on the right side, but the Raceland defense strings it out, and he's not able to cut it back upfield. It looked like on the tackle, Blake Morris, and it also looks like Howard in on that tackle. That was good enough for maybe a yard gain to the 48, and that'll bring up 2nd and 9 from there. Johnson looks over, waits for his signal to come in of the play. Dooley will shuffle it in. And the Cowboys, in a scoreless battle, have 2nd and 9 on the Raceland 48-yard line. Backs are split behind Johnson. There's a man in the slot over on the right side. Johnson will hand it off to that slot man who comes reversing around and picks up about 4 or 5 yards. Blanton was the ball carrier. Chris Blanton. And Tolliver, a name that's already been called many times in the ball game, in on the tackle. That'll bring up 3rd and still about 4 to go for the Cowboys. At the 43, they've got to get it to the 39 in Raceland territory. Just 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Probably the last play of the quarter. Johnson now looks over the defense. He's got split backs behind him. Johnson, once again, will hand it off to a man coming out of the slot, and he'll fight hard but not get the first down. He'll be about a yard shy. Marcus Woods came from the right side to the left on a reverse, but just, I don't know. Wait a minute here. They may they're moving the ball around. It doesn't look like, from where the chain is spotted, that it is enough for the first down. But then again, the angle sometimes can be deceiving. And the officials, for all practical purposes, the quarter is ended, but they're going to measure. And it's going to be short. About, let's call it, it's probably short a couple of feet. But the first quarter has come to an end. And it's scoreless, Raceland nothing and the Cowboys nothing. So the teams now will gather around their respective coaching staffs to find out what they want done.
How's your back today? This is still on right.
It'll be 4th down. We'll call it a yard, really less than that, for the Cowboys in Raceland territory. Here well, they're going to go for it. Full house backfield behind Johnson. Johnson will hand it off. And a first down and more. Bethel carries it up the middle. And Bethel had to make the 34, and he makes the, see where he makes here, around the 30. So Bethel gets, they needed 1, he got about 4. So the Cowboys gamble on 4th down. It works. They've got it 1st and 10 now on the Raceland 30-yard line. Here's Johnson with it. He keeps it, reverses his field from right to left, and picks up close to 5 yards. They'll probably give him 4, though. Once again, Tolliver in on the tackle for Raceland. Ball resting just over the 30-yard line. It'll be second, let's call it 5. 6:59 to go in this first half. It's scoreless. The Cowboys and Raceland. Now let's see what the Cowboys have got cooked up here on this 2nd and 5. Full house backfield behind Johnson. He'll hand it off to the first man, Bethel. And Bethel, not much there at all. He'll get back to about the line of scrimmage. He's brought down by a bunch of Raceland players. And let's see who gets up there. 37, it looks like Schwab. So that'll bring up a 3rd. And just about 6 to go for the Cowboys. On the 30-yard line in Raceland territory. Raceland defense adjusting, and we've got a flag. We've got a dead ball penalty, offsides against Raceland. That will cost 5 yards, but I don't know if 5 yards will pick up the first down or not. It looks to me like they need a little bit more than that. Raceland interior lineman jumping offsides. That will bring up a 3rd down and about a yard. Ball resting just shy, just over the 25. They've got to make the 24, the Cowboys do. 6 minutes to play in the first half. It's scoreless. And the first down, well, if he didn't get it, he got awful close to it. Brett Hall, the ball carrier, and as I said, if he didn't get the first down, he got close. And that is a first down. Fleming in on the tackle for Raceland, but not before Hall had picked up the necessary yardage for the first down. So the Cowboys continue their drive here in a scoreless ball game with 5:40 left in the first half. 2 backs are split behind Johnson. Johnson will pitch it. And coming around the left side, there's a flag. Is Bethel, but a flag, and that could indicate a clip of some sort, or probably not a hold, but probably a clip. Let's wait and see. Although it could be a hold. Could be a lot of things. It is a hold. Oh, excuse me, a face mask. I thought the referee indicated a hold. I still think it was what it was a hold. Face mask is up here. Usually on an end run like that, you'll see a clip, and you'll see a hold occasionally. So that'll back the Cowboys up. That puts them back to just ant of the 30-yard line in Raceland territory. And they have got to make just about the 13. They got some yards to go out of that full house backfield. They snap it back to one of the backs who will throw it. He's got a wide open man, and it is going to be a touchdown. A little razzle-dazzle, if you would. The touchdown to Bethel, and I believe it was Blanton that threw it. I believe it was Blanton that threw that. I hope so. Blanton pass to Bethel. 30 yards. And the Cowboys lead 6-0 with 5:13 left in the second quarter. That time the ball, Johnson had gone back in a shotgun formation with 2 backs on each side of him. He gave it to the back, Blanton, who threw it in with a touchdown. Here they come around the left side, a little counter action, and in is Blanton for the 2 points. So the Cowboys lead 8-0. Blanton run, 2 points. It's 8-0 Cowboys. And the Cowboys will now kick off to Raceland. Cowboys ready to go here. They score the touchdown, the 2-point conversion. They lead 8-0.
Back deep for Raceland, number 7, Hammond. And number 14, Morris.
I think the Cowboys have too many people out there. Now here comes player off the field. Only allowed 11, you know. And they get that problem resolved. Here's the kickoff. Taken by one of the up men at about the 35-40-yard line. Knocked down, good open field tackle.
On a return for Raceland, number 33, Lax.
Chase Downs. Excuse me, it was Lax for Raceland who brought the ball back. He brought it back about 15 yards. Up over the 50 into Russell's Cowboy territory. And let's call it the 47-yard line or thereabouts. I guess I can call it about any yard I want to since I don't see other lines on the field. I just sort of make up where I want it to be. Raceland with the ball now. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 47. Here's the pitch back. This is not going to work because back at midfield, that was Chris Lax, who tried to sweep around the right side, but Hall of the Cowboys right there to collar him and bring him down. Cowboys lead this ball game 8-0. There's 4 minutes and 40 seconds left till halftime in a rapidly played first half. That'll probably take forever to play the game. What you say there? Something I've learned over the years. Out of the I formation, Raceland has it now. Second, about a dozen or so to go, 13 maybe. And here's the handoff, little reverse action. Thomas Tolliver, but Thomas not a lot of running room. Maybe back to the original line of scrimmage. Hensley in on the tackle for the Cowboys. He didn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 11. The ball resting out on the 48-yard line. See what Raceland can do now. They'll operate with a full house backfield. And here's the handoff. Not much there, if anything at all. Lax on the carry, and he'll lose a yard back to the 50. So that'll be 4th, at least a dozen, maybe even 13 for Raceland. They get the option to go for it or to kick it. If they kick it, the referee will move the ball 25 yards down the field, and that's what will happen. The simulated punt. And so the ball will rest at the Cowboy 25-yard line. Cowboys lead 8-0 with 3:17 to go in the first half. So let's see what happens here now. Oh, they've moved out of the muddy or dirty part of the field, the dirt part of the field, back into a little more of the grass, as you can probably tell. All in all, though, the field, although it's got that bare spot on it, looks like it's in pretty good shape, except for that. Here's the pitch back for the Cowboys, and running hard up over the 30-yard line is Bethel, Jason Bethel. Runs hard on the left side. Comes from the 25 up over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 2 from there. And we're going to have the official indicate a timeout for Raceland. So that'll stop the clock at 2:53 to go in the first half. Raceland trailing the Cowboys here by a score of 8-0. So all the coaches will come out now and talk a little bit. The officials will huddle over the football, and the coaches will get out and talk a little bit. A little individual instruction going on to one of the Raceland players. So far, the only scoring in the ball game, Blanton, a pass to Bethel, a 30-yard pass with 5:13 here in the second quarter, and then Blanton on a run for the two-point conversion. So it's 8-0 Cowboys. Now the Cowboys have talked it over. They're ready to go. Raceland, who called the timeout, decides that they're ready to go. So let's see what happens here. Second and a couple of yards on the 33 for the Cowboys in their own territory. Here comes that reverse again. And a first down and then a little extra yardage. Randy Perkins on the reverse took the handoff from Johnson, got the first down. He had to make the 35. He crosses the 40 out to about the 41-yard line.
He was knocked out of bounds by number 24, Chris Wilson.
So the Cowboys keep this drive alive at 2:46 in this first half, leading 8-0. Here comes the play in from the sidelines. Chris Blanton will trot out there with it from the coaching staff. The ball on the 41, first and 10 for the Cowboys. They've got two wide outs on the left side, the short side of the field. In the shotgun is Johnson. He'll throw a screen pass, and it will work and gain about 5 yards. The ball fumbled out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Blanton had it. He lost the handle on it at about the 45, but when the ball bounded on the ground and rolled out of bounds, he got an extra yard out of it.
Second down, about 6 for Cowboys.
I can remember one time many years ago doing a football game on radio where the team would run to the sideline, and when it looked like they were going to be tackled, they'd throw the ball out of bounds ahead of them. I think that's against the rule now. I know you don't see it very often. But they weren't fumbles. They were just actually running up, and when they were coming at them, they just throw it ahead and throw it out of bounds, and they allowed them to do it. They lost, but they still did it. 2:12, the clock stopped on the out-of-bounds play. Cowboys have it second, let's call it 5, right up at their own 46-yard line. Johnson will hand it off to Blanton. Blanton crosses the 50 down to the 48 of Raceland. Hard running Blanton out of the backfield at the 2-minute mark in this first half gives the Cowboys a third down. I thought he had the first down. It's third down. The officials will stop the clock here at 1:46. The Cowboys will call a timeout to talk it over because it is third and about 1. You can see the down marker showing third, and of course the marker showing where the first down is. Over the years, I've always learned that when you're at a ball game, you never pay attention to what the scoreboard says. You watch what the markers say. Because if you watch the scoreboard, they could be wrong. The markers aren't, at least theoretically. That's what they judge, or the measurements are made on. Just one of the tricks of the trade that you pick up. Now the Cowboys out there talking over. Of course, the Raceland coaches out talking with their players. The Cowboys trying to keep a drive going here, leading 8-0 late in the second quarter. The ball, let's call it the 49 of Raceland. Cowboys have got to make the 48. Johnson back to throw it. He looks. He's got a man in the flat. Nearly intercepted and knocked away. And that was Oakes, Jesse Oakes. I think they got a hand on it. And maybe Williams over in that area too. So that will bring up a 4th and 1. And the clock on the incompleted pass didn't stop. It's continuing to run at 1:19. So the Cowboys will go for it out of the full house backfield. Here's a big run for the first down. Bethel on the handoff, and he makes more than enough for the first half. And the Cowboys will once again take a timeout. Ball resting on the 43-yard line in Raceland territory. A minute 11 till halftime. The Cowboys once again take a timeout. I don't know the rule here, but if I was a coach, I believe I'd have them run over to me. They're in better shape than I'm being. I'm not saying that the coaches aren't in good shape. I'm just saying if I were a coach. With that many timeouts, the coach has to walk a lot to get out there. Just have them huddle up with me. Well, let's see now what's going to happen. It's 1st and 10. The Cowboys will have it on about the 43 or so in Raceland territory. Out of the shotgun, Johnson on the exchange, late getting it to Blanton, and Blanton gets smothered under by Andrew Fleming. Fleming right there to smother him under. The snap was high into the shotgun position where Johnson was standing. When he finally got the handle, he tried to hand it off to Blanton, and the Cowboys lose back to the 50, so they lose about 7 yards on that. And that'll bring up 2nd and 17. Clock continues to roll with 40 seconds to go till halftime. So the Cowboy drive is stalled down here around the midfield marker. They've got 2 wide outs on the right side, the open side, out of the shotgun. Johnson has some trouble with it. He's going to throw it, and it's not caught. A tremendous effort over there by Blanton to get back to the ball that was underthrown, and he really stretched himself out but just couldn't get back to get the ball. And that'll stop the clock at 12 seconds. Johnson that time out of the shotgun. It was a high snap and had a little trouble finding the handle on it. So now the Cowboys will huddle. Johnson waits for the play to be run in by Scott Smith, who just joins the team there in the huddle. What could be the last play of this first half is coming up. Wide outs once again to the right open side of the field. Johnson at the quarterback, an unbalanced line, or out of the shotgun, I should say, and it's back to the 40-yard line. And the Cowboys will lose it on the fumble. Raceland will recover it. Ryan Rose back to fall in the pigskin for Raceland. So Raceland will get a shot at it here with 7 seconds left. The ball now at the Cowboy 40-yard line. Raceland with just 7 seconds. Good field position, but the problem is the time. Not much of it. So the Cowboy defense now will be put to the test here in the very, very waning seconds of the first half. Here comes Raceland out. Quarterback Grizzle out of that full house backfield. Grizzle will keep it, and he will pick up 2 or 3 yards up the middle, and that'll be it. The half is over. So here at halftime, it's Cowboys 8, Raceland nothing. Oh, wait a minute. They're going to run one more play. Evidently, they need one more play to run here. Clock shows no time, but they will run one more play. It will be a 2nd down, about 6. Raceland has the ball on the Cowboy 37-yard line. Coach has been out talking now, just about ready to run this final play. Scott Grizzle, the quarterback. This time Raceland with a man on the right side in the slot over there, out of an I formation. Grizzle, he's going to be stopped. The Cowboys were in on him very quickly. One of the Cowboys in there was Bethel, among others. So it's halftime, 8-0. The Cowboys in the lead over Raceland in a low-scoring first half, but still pretty exciting first half. Let me recap the scoring for you. The only scoring in the ball game, Blanton a pass to Bethel, a 30-yard pass at 5:13 of the second quarter to make it 6-0. Blanton's run for the two-point conversion made it 8-0, and that is the scoring. That's the first half. Cowboys lead Raceland 8-0. Just about ready for the start of the second half here. The Cowboys lead Raceland 8-0 at the Henry R. Evans Stadium at Russell High School. The Cowboys will kick off to start this third quarter. Everybody getting arranged on the field.
All right, we're ready to start the third quarter here. Kicking off the Cowboys, number 28, Blanton.
Chris Blanton will tee it up and kick it off from the 40 for the Cowboys. Ready for the official to get set and give the signal to let it go. There's the whistle. Blanton approaches, and a line drive kick that will be picked up at about the 31-yard line by Blake Morris. He will not get much. He'll run a long way, but he won't get much. He picked it up off the ground at the 31, and maybe the 32 is all he's going to get. He ran across the field, but couldn't get it turned up. Johnson in on the tackle for the Cowboys. So Raceland goes to work here, 1st and 10. See where they finally do put the ball down at the 30, let's call it the 33. 1st and 10 on that 33-yard line. Raceland will have it. Trailing here 8-0 to the Cowboys.
And Raceland has the ball on their own 32-yard line, first down.
Grizzle, the quarterback, with that full house backfield behind him. Movement, and movement. Just depends on who the officials are going to say started. Raceland did pull up. It looked like the right and left sides tight ends moved on that. I guess they did. They'll move it back to around the 28-yard line where it will be 1st and 15. The Cowboy defense at the line of scrimmage, ready to go. And here comes Raceland out of the huddle now to try for their offensive play. 7:52 just underway in the third quarter. Cowboys lead at 8-0. Out of the full house backfield, Grizzle calls out the signals. Raceland set, and the pitch for Raceland onto 33, Chris Lax. Lax, not a lot of running room on the right side. Try to pick up who it was that tackled over there for the Cowboys. Good pursuit off the defensive line for the Cowboys. Looks like John Ash was in on the tackle for the Cowboys. And that will bring up a second down. Back on the 26-yard line. Straight ahead, Grizzle, the quarterback, keeps it, crosses the 30 out to the 31. So it's going to be a third down and about 11. 6 minutes and 45 seconds in this third quarter. Cowboys lead it 8-0 over Raceland. Raceland faced with a 3rd and 11 on their own 31. Grizzle at that quarterback spot. He hands it off to Lax, I believe it is, Chris Lax. And Lax tries to fight on the right side, but there's just not much running room. Cowboys really stacking it up on the line of scrimmage. after a gain of a yard or two. Ash makes the tackle, and the Raceland team elects to do the simulated punt. Official moves it down the field 25 yards. The Cowboys leading 8-0, have the ball on the 43-yard line.
42-yard line. First down.
6 minutes and 2 seconds. The clock stopped while the ball was moved. And, of course, we'll start on the snap. Greg Johnson at the quarterback, full house backfield behind him. He tells him what he wants. And a little bit of a late handoff to Blanton, but Blanton manages to crush through the line and pick up enough yardage, for, if not a first down, very close to it. It's like the handoff that time was almost as Blanton had gone past Johnson. See what the official's going to say. They're kind of looking over here. Now they're going to call it second down. He's going to be a little shy. We'll call it a yard. It's actually maybe a foot or so. Very short. Here come the Cowboys now. Out of that full house backfield. Johnson looks back, looks around on the offense and defense. Gets the signal called, and there's a flag that'll stop everything. We had some illegal motion and movement. Not so much motion as it was movement. And that'll stop the clock at 5:10 and cost the Cowboys 5 yards.
On the carry, number 41, Hall. We got a flag down.
So that will move the Cowboys back
Stop at number 50.
to their own 47 or 48 yard line in that vicinity. And that will bring up we'll stay at second down, but we'll bring up more yardage now where they needed about a yard. Now they'll need close to 6. Flanker on the slot on the right, split backfield. Here's the reverse, the handoff to Blanton coming around the left side. Blanton, good yardage, more than enough for the first down. Wilson, one of the tacklers for Raceland, but not before the Cowboys pick up the first down as they bring Blanton out of the slot on that right side. So the Cowboys lead this ball game 8-0. We're just about midway through the third quarter at the 4:46 mark, and the Cowboys will have the ball 1st and 10. We get the chain crew kind of straightened out here. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line in Raceland territory. Official says wind the clock, and the clock starts. Here's Johnson with the handoff. Number 41 coming around that right side. Hall with it. Hall's got a couple of people to beat. They've got the angle on him, but he still gets it down to inside the 10. An excellent run out of Hall. Brett Hall, an excellent run. Big gainer. It'll be on the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal at the 9 for the Cowboys. So the Cowboys threaten here, leading 8-0 and knocking on the door. Knocking on that door for sure. Bethel and Hall, the split backs. And I don't know what the holdup is right now. Okay, now we're ready to go. Here's the pitch to Bethel. He's at the 9, inside the 5, down to the 3 or 4 yard line. Picks up close to 6 yards. Just a simple pitch from the quarterback, Johnson. He just pitched it back to him, and he had a lot of running room on that right side. Down about the, I don't know, that looks like it might be around the 3. Second and goal for the Cowboys, threatening for a touchdown here, leading 8-0 in this third quarter. Here's Johnson with a handoff. Bethel fights through, got the touchdown.
Touchdown, number 45, Bethel.
Bethel that time took it right up the middle and was not to be denied, so it's 14-0. The Cowboys with the lead. Bethel, and we'll call it a 3-yard run, and that comes at the 3:28 mark in the third quarter. And that makes it 14-0. So the Cowboys now will go for the 2-point conversion. Late in this third quarter, up by 14, puts some pressure on Raceland for sure. Split backs behind Johnson. Here's the reverse. And in, nope, didn't get in. Thought he got in, but he didn't. That was Scott Smith, and he was about a yard shy of getting in. The run fails, but the touchdown stands. And it is 14-0. The Cowboys in the lead. So now the teams will walk down the field. The Cowboys will tee the ball up at the 40. And we'll get ready for the ensuing kickoff as the Cowboys will kick it off to Raceland. Cowboys up 14-0. They scored 8 in the first half, 6 here in this third quarter.
Back seat for Raceland, number 7, Hamlin, and number 14, Morris.
Let's see what happens. Blanton wasn't, I don't think he liked the angle of the ball there, so he ran up to adjust it. He'll put a toe to it, gets a line drive kick. It's taken by one of the up men about the 36-yard line at the 40, and gets away from a couple people up to the 45-yard line for Raceland. That was Thomas Tolliver. Returns the ball about 9 yards.
Brought down number 28, Blanton.
Blanton in on the tackle.
And Raceland will have the ball on their own 45-yard line. First down.
So Raceland now with the clock stopped at 3:22 in this third quarter. Trails 14-0, but Raceland will have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 45-yard line. See what Raceland could do here with it. Got a fumble on the exchange from center, and that'll cost a yard loss as Grizzle falls on it, the quarterback. So that'll bring up a 2nd and 11 on the Raceland 44. Shot there, the Cowboy defensive unit. Raceland now. It's ready to come out, facing a 2nd and 11, down 14-0. 2:43 left in the third quarter. Raceland likes that full house backfield. Grizzle at the quarterback spot. He keeps it. He gets away momentarily, and then he's finally knocked down. It looks like Andrew Gray was the tackler, one of the tacklers for the Cowboys. They're also saying Hensley, 55, was in on the tackle. So the keeper picks up about 4, but that's still 3rd and 7 here for Raceland.
Third down, about 8 for Raceland.
So it's a big third down as far as Raceland's concerned late in this third quarter, down 14-0. Grizzle hands it off, and there's no running room at all up the middle. Cowboys just stacking it up on the line and not allowing anything up the middle. Trying to see who that runner was. It might.
27, John Calhoun on the carry. He was stopped at the line.
They're saying John Calhoun was the ball carrier. And that does bring up a 4th and just about 7. And Raceland decides to punt the ball. Probably not a bad move at all. So the official will walk down 25 yards, indicate that the ball now belongs to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys will go on offense. The ball will rest between the 25 and 30. We'll call it the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys from that point. Greg Johnson at quarterback. Blanton, and I believe that's Hall behind him. Now here's Hall coming out of the slot on the left side, coming around the right side. Nice tackle on Hall, as he was pretty much off to the races. Had that Raceland player, it looks like 53, Tyler Grant. Had Grant not got a hand on him, Hall may have been gone. Still a good run out of Hall. Ball resting just shy of the 35-yard line in Cowboy territory. Second down, about 5 to go. One of the Raceland players is down. That looks like Clinton Thompson, number 41. And he will leave the field.
All right, Clinton Thompson, give him a big hand.
A minute 17. The official says roll the clock. It's at a minute 14. And here come the Cowboys. 2nd and 5, just shy of their own 35-yard line. Hall's in that slot on the left side. Here's that reverse again, but not this time not to Hall. The reverse handoff is to Perkins. And Perkins claws his way out over the 35 to about the 36, but it's going to be 3rd and short of a first by a couple of yards. Well, the Cowboys in the huddle and ready to go. Big 3rd down play here for Raceland defensively, and of course for the Cowboys to keep the drive going out of that full house backfield. Here's the handoff, met right at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go. Maybe a loss of half a yard or so, and that'll bring up 4th down. Well, they're saying a fumble. The official indicates a fumble, and the ball goes to Raceland. I thought I saw him point that way, and he did. So Raceland gets a break on the positive side. At 13 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, Raceland will have the ball 1st and 10 on the Cowboy around the 33, 34-yard line. Excellent field position. Comes the play in, so let's see what Raceland can do with it here. Of course, in the waning seconds of this, the 3rd stanza. Cowboys lead at 14 to nothing, but that fumble recovery by Raceland has set them up at about the 34-yard line. Full house backfield. Grizzle, the quarterback, almost loses it, does lose it, and there's a fumble, and it may be recovered by the Cowboys. They indicate it is. The official says it is, so therefore it is the Cowboys' ball. So an exchange of fumbles, and the Cowboys get it back. The Cowboys will get it back. Right about the 35 in their own territory. Cowboys scored 8 points in the first half. They've scored 6 here in the third quarter so far and lead 14-0. Here's the pitch. Pretty good run. And it's taken several Raceland players to bring him down. The ball's loose, but the whistle had blown. And that was Bethel out of the backfield, a little pitch, and he came around the right side with it and got more than enough for the first down. He was on his own 35, and they will bring him down on the Raceland 47-yard line or so. And that is it. The third quarter is over. So the Cowboys have got to drive together in the end of the third quarter. And the Cowboys lead 14-0 over Raceland here at Henry R. Evans Stadium at Russell High School. And here's how the scoring has gone so far. Blanton a pass to Bethel, a 30-yard pass at 5:13 in the second quarter. Blanton a 2-yard run, or a run for the 2-point conversion. It was 8-0, and that stood up for halftime. Bethel a 3-yard run at the 3:28 mark of the third quarter made it 14-0. The run failed. And that's where we are after three quarters, with the Cowboys leading Raceland 14-0. And both teams are back out on the field, and they're ready to go as the Cowboys will have the ball first and 10. It looks like about the 47, 48-yard line in Raceland territory. They got a full house backfield, the Cowboys do. Johnson at quarterback. He will hand it off to Bethel. Bethel gets away at the line of scrimmage, still fighting. Fights inside the 45 down to the 44-yard line. And he is tackled in there. One of the tacklers, Raymond Mayers of Raceland. And Clinton Thompson, looks to me like he's on the ground over there, so we'll mention his name. And then they also said something about Tyler Grant. So we'll just 3 of 11. That's about 27% of the team tackled him. That brings up a second down and about 5. The ball in Raceland territory at the 44-yard line. Slot man on the left side with split backs. Johnson will hand it off to that slot man, but the whistle will blow, and it will be a procedure penalty against the Cowboys, which will cost them 5 yards. So the Cowboys will lose 5 yards. That'll back them up to from the 43 or so back to about the 48 in Raceland territory. And that'll bring up second, and for all practical purposes, 10 yards. Here we go with the play. And the ball is on the ground. It's loose and up for grabs. Blanton had it. Somebody stripped it away from him. It was on the ground, and let's see who they're going to give it to. The officials will say down on that pile to find out who's got it. I guess the Cowboys will retain possession.
And the Cowboys recover.
So the Cowboys pick up about 3 yards on the fumble. And that will bring up a third down. And 7 yards, a long 7, as everybody likes to say. They've got the slot man this time on the right side, 2 split backs. Here's the pitch back to Bethel. He cuts between 2 defenders. He, it looks like, got the first down at about the 36-yard line. Howard was the tackler for Raceland, but I think he got it. Looks like he got it. I don't know. There, where the spot is, I guess he did get it because they moved the chains. First, I thought they had spotted the ball back, but I don't guess they did. First and 10 on about the 36 in Raceland territory. A fumble on the exchange from center to the quarterback, and Johnson falls down to get the ball, and I think he recovers it for the Cowboys. And in reality, they lose about a yard, the Cowboys do, to the 37 of Raceland. So it'll be 2nd and 11 on the miscue. Bethel comes out on the slot on the right side. Blanton and Hall behind Johnson. He wants to throw it. He looks. He throws it over the middle. Nearly intercepted. Intended receiver was Bethel, but it was a little too high for him. He got a hand on it. A couple of Raceland defenders were there to try to bring it in, but it fell harmlessly to the ground. So that will bring up a 3rd down and 11 for the Cowboys, leading here 14-0 in this 4th quarter. Two wide outs on the right side of the field. Out of the shotgun, Johnson gets it. He looks, he throws it. He's got his man Blanton. He got it at the 23. He's inside the 10. He's finally collared and brought down. And the man that got him was Brian Williams of Raceland. But not before he gets the 1st down and inside the 10-yard line. He got behind the defenders and hung right in there to catch the ball. So the Cowboys have a 1st down. 1st and goal from about the 9. Leading here 14-0 in this 4th quarter. This could be a big score if the Cowboys can punch it in. Really inflate the margin here. Here's Johnson at end around, reverse to Blanton, untouched on the reverse coming from right to left. And so Blanton goes in from 9 outs. He was a slot man on the right side, and he came around and took it in. 4:40, I believe. Is that the time up there, 4:40? In the 4th quarter. It makes it 20-0 in favor of the Cowboys. And now the Cowboys will go for the 2-point conversion. Hall and Bethel and Blanton back behind Johnson. Johnson will tuck it and try to run it in. He gets a block or two, and he got in. So Johnson takes it in for the 2. Johnson runs the 2 points in. 22-0 Cowboys. 4:40 left in this one.
You got the Cowboys 22, Raceland nothing.
There's a big scoring drive for the Cowboys, who were up 14-0. And now Raceland finds themselves 22 points behind with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Puts you in a situation where you've got to have a big play or two. Some direction from one of the Cowboy coaches. Like a flagman on the highway. Did you see that? He was out there waving them all around. I think we're going to see some, looks like maybe some clean jerseys into the ball game right now for this Cowboy team. Blanton will tee it up at the 40. I believe Raceland has Hammond and Morris as the deep men. Blanton waits for the signal from the official. Of course, he wants to make sure he's over and out of the way. See him trotting off there to get into position, and we're ready to go. It's a short kick on the ground, picked up at about the 34-yard line by Tolliver. Tolliver cuts it across field, and not a whole lot of running room. He got it up, see, the 35, the 40, up to about the 42 or 43. So that's where Raceland goes on the offense, trailing this ball game 22-0. And some clean jerseys in there on the defense right now for the Cowboys. Bunch of clean jerseys out there. Raceland first and 10 on about their own 43-yard line. Trying to get everybody kind of situated here to where they're supposed to stand. Okay, I think they've got everybody placed defensively. So Raceland now will go on this offense first and 10 on their own 43. Once again, the full house backfield behind Grizzle at the quarterback spot. That was Tolliver, I believe, at the quarterback spot. Changed quarterbacks on me. Morris on the carry. Gets, it looks like a yard or so on the right side, and that's about it.
He was brought down by number 8, David Bailey.
He got more than a yard. I thought he got a yard. Let's see where they're going to finally spot him down. He was at the 43, and the ball's resting. Yeah, he got a yard out to the 44. It'll be 2nd and 9 from there. Tolliver at the quarterback. He'll just tuck it under his left wing and take off around the left side. He's over midfield. Tolliver down the sideline, finally knocked out of bounds. Corey Smith and David Bailey run him out of bounds, but not before Tolliver picks up big yardage and a Raceland first down. He was on his own 44, and when they finally knock him out of bounds, he is going to be at the Cowboy 36, it looks like.
That was enough for a Raceland first down.
So Raceland with a first down, trailing 22-0. 3:36 left in the ball game. It's been all offensively Cowboys here in this ball game. Long count by Tolliver. He'll pitch it back to Morris. Morris runs across the field, tries to cut it up, finally gets a little running room, and is finally knocked out of bounds. Well, Morris ran a long way across there before he could cut it up. He had good pursuit by the Cowboys. Bailey, the player to knock him out of bounds, and the ball will rest just at the 30-yard line. So he picked up about 6 yards. Had to run a long way to get it, but he's hung right in there with it. A nice run. Out of Morris of Raceland. Tolliver's still in there at the quarterback position, and he will pitch it back. And running, trying to get away from the pursuit. Running for the left sideline, and still on his feet, and finally knocked out of bounds is Jesse Howard. Jess Howard on that run. A big run for Howard because it looked like the pursuit had him caught. And he just turned on the afterburner, so to speak, and picked up some yardage. And the first down. So with 2:42 left in this one, the Cowboys lead at 22-0. It will be Raceland with the ball, 1st and 10. The ball resting at the Cowboy 20-yard line. Of course, on the out-of-bounds play, the clock arrested. And we'll start on the snap. Raceland pretty much has gone all the way with his full house backfield. There's movement on the Cowboy defensive line. Had 3 or 4 of the interior defenders moving, and the official will wave the flag, and that will cost the Well, see who's going to cost. They're conferring. Could have been some movement that I didn't catch by this Raceland team. They back up off the ball and huddle. Officials still confer. Well, evidently no flag. He waved it, but it didn't count.
No flag on that play.
After the conference there. Here's Tolliver, the keeper, right up the middle. Gets a little opening, a seam, if you will. And he's still fighting. And he crosses the 15 down to around the 13-yard line. Might be Downs. I'm not sure it was in on that tackle. There were several other Cowboy defenders.
Number 20, Cowboy on the keeper. He was brought down by number 33, chased down.
The clock rolls at 2:10. 22-0, the Cowboys in the lead over Raceland. Raceland, though, in the red zone, wanting to get something out of this drive. It'll be second and about 3, the ball on the 13 in Cowboy territory. Tolliver turns, hands the ball, nowhere to run, drop back at around the 15-yard line. I believe that was Blake Morris was 14, the ball carrier. Brown on the tackle for the Cowboys. The clock at a minute 32, and that will bring up a third down. They're going to say he went down on the 15, so that'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Raceland. Eight nothing at halftime. The Cowboys have added 14 points in the second half to lead at 22-0. Very late in the fourth quarter. A minute 10 left. Well, let's see what Raceland can do now. On a 3rd and 5, Tolliver, the keeper, he tucks it, goes right, and he's got a man that's got him. And Darrell Mahan, I believe, catches him and drops him for a loss. Well, Tolliver took off around the right side on the keeper, but Mahan was there to bring him down, and that'll bring up 4th and about 14 yards to go. 49 seconds and the clock running. And I wouldn't think you would want to punt it here. I mean, you're behind 22-0. You're inside the last minute. Why not go for it? At 28 seconds, Raceland out of the huddle. Tolliver under the center, hands under. He will pitch it back to Morris. Morris coming around that right side, gets some running room. He may go for the touchdown. Blake Morris takes it in from 15 out. So Raceland scores. Morris on a 15-yard run, and it's 22-6. With 7 seconds to go, the clock, of course, stopped for the point-after attempt. So Raceland will get a chance to add 2, and then we'll have a chance to kick off. So there's still a little more action left in this one. Tolliver on the keeper. He got in. Kind of looked like he got in untouched. Tolliver on the 2-point conversion. It is 22-8 with just 7 seconds left. Any kind of return for the Cowboys and the game will be over. Teams will huddle on each side of the field now. They're going to let the time run out. We may see an extended game where they add some more time to it, or they may just let it go. I guess that's it.
At the Raceland, eh?
I didn't know if they were going to try to extend the game by 3 or 4 minutes just to let the teams play a little longer.
Give both these teams a big hand.
So I guess that's the ball game. The officials, though, are still huddled over the football out at the 35-yard line. And the Cowboys are out with their coach. Not all of them are out there, so I think we may have some more playing time here. I'm not sure what is transpiring at this moment. But the officials, for some reason, have put the ball down on the 35 and are huddled around the ball. The Raceland team across the way huddled around their coaches. Part of the Cowboy team is out on the field around their coaches, which would indicate to me that we may see a few more minutes of action here. And I do believe we will see some more action. Now the game has ended at 22-8, but the teams are playing a little extra time here. And I believe that was Blanton who just scored a touchdown run. Excuse me, I was wrong. It was not Blanton. That was 21 Perkins for the Cowboys who scored. So evidently they have allowed the game to go on after time had expired. So that makes it 20. If you want to keep count of it, it'd make it 28-8. Not real sure. They haven't added any time to the scoreboard here. What exactly they're doing, if they're just giving each team a series of plays. So Perkins on that got about a 65-yard run with no time to make it 28-8. Cowboys. I think they're just wanting to get some of the youngsters some playing time. And the keeper for the two-point conversion is good by Scott Smith. So Smith gets the 2 points. And that would make it 30-8, although the clock ran out when it was 22-8. And as I said, I'm not real sure what the situation is now. If that, evidently they're saying that is the game now. So the game is over, and the scoreboard does indicate 30-8. So the Cowboys win over Raceland in a game that had some extended play to it, and the Cowboys did score 8 more points. So that's your final from here at the Henry R. Evans Stadium at Russell High School. The Cowboys 30 and Raceland 8. I'm Charlie Dunlap. Thank you for tuning in.